What's up everybody, Michael here from stevesdigicams.com, coming to you today with a video shot exclusively on the new GoPro Hero 6 Black camera. And the purpose of this video today is actually just to show everybody some samples of some raw footage at the different frame rates. So we're going to shoot 4K at 60 frames per second, we're going to shoot 2.7K at up to 120 frames per second, we're going to shoot 1080p at up to 240 frames per second. Take a look at that, hear what the microphone sound in this generation camera, and we're going to do it all while washing my very dirty car. And now for some adorable assistant. Welcome back inside, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the footage thus far. Now, we're not quite done yet. What I'm going to do now, and of course, by the way, we're still shooting on the GoPro, so listen to the audio. This is what the natural mics sound like while they're inside the Karma grip, the stabilizer handheld system. So, what we're going to do right now is actually talk about a few first impressions about the camera, and then I'm going to go through and take you through and show you again some of the footage that you just saw, but I'm going to highlight a few areas where I think we can talk about the quality of the video as well as the quality of the slow motion. So, first impressions. Well, the first thing you do with a camera, of course, is set it up. And I found the GoPro setup system to be actually quite easy. It directs you through what you need to do. You connect your phone, Android or iOS using the free app, and it basically shows you what necessarily to do. And I didn't think it was particularly hard to set up compared to some other cameras where they have really deep menu systems. This camera is very simple to use, and the touchscreen is actually quite nice. Now, it's a little harder for people with bigger fingers, I would imagine, but for medium, smaller fingers, you can kind of make do with the itty-bitty screen. And what's neat about that is that they've got it really set up really smart ways. You're swiping down to get to some preferences, you're swiping up to set the frame rate and resolution, and you're swiping from left to right to look at the images that you've captured already. And there's some other settings on the right that I need to figure out and learn more about. But anyway, I think it's a pretty nice system, pretty simple, just plug and play kind of video camera setup. Let's also talk about battery life. Battery life is not great, actually, I would say. I was really surprised by how quickly the battery drains, both while you're kind of playing with it to set up and while you're recording footage. It seems to drop really quickly. So that's something to keep in mind. You might want to, I mean, I know a lot of people, they get extra GoPros or they get extra batteries, and that's definitely something that you want to consider. Also, another quick tip is regarding the micro SD card slot. Now, it's tucked in next to the battery, and so I personally would recommend taking the battery out when you want to get the card in and out of the camera. It's a little easier to make it kind of click into place. So, oh, and of course, geez, I almost forgot. The biggest thing is that when you get the Hero 6, the camera is using, for certain frame rates and resolutions, it's using the HEVC codec, which is kind of an upgrade. They use it for 4K Ultra HD Blu-rays as well, and it's a bit of an upgrade. It's going to, versus MP4, and basically you're going to get better compression, more accurate compression, and it's, it basically allows us to deal with these larger images and frame rates and all that sort of stuff. So to edit HEVC, you're going to need to update your Mac computer to High Sierra, or it won't even show you the files when you go to import them, which you can do in iMovie or in the GoPro app, and I'm sure a bunch of other editing software applications as well. So the other thing I guess I'll talk about is the audio. I've listened to a few clips of me outside. I think, one, it's soft. Two, if you're touching the camera at all, you're going to get the, vibrations. So not a great microphone, not a great audio recording system. You're definitely going to either want to use some type of external mic that you pipe into, using the USB import, or just a, external recorder that you can marry in after. I just watched a video on YouTube with my friend Steve Huff over at stevehufpphoto.com, and he did a comparison of the Hero 4 with the Hero 6. So that the Hero 4, if you remember, doesn't have the built-in waterproofing, and it has a much better microphone setup. So that sounds a lot better, and there's not really much improvement versus the Hero 5. So good setup, not a great microphone, not great battery life, but let's talk about the image quality itself. What we have here is a freeze frame from the video that you just saw, and so this is 4K at 24p, right? And so what's really interesting about this shot is that I think the resolution is good for a camera with this small of an image sensor. You can see details up here in the wood paneling of the garage surface. You can see the details here in the concrete. And I thought this here was some aliasing, but it turns out that's actually just a reflection of the house. So it's pretty good footage. This is not great lighting, obviously, being a cloudy day. But pretty good overall, and I like the resolution, and I like the accuracy of the image. It's a little noisy, but there's some nice details here in these shadows as well. You can see there's a ladder in the background. It doesn't crush everything. There's information there. So I think for 4K 24p, it's looking pretty good. Let's go on. So here we have the 1080p 240 footage, and what's interesting about this is that the super view mode of the camera is not available, so you're cropping in a little bit, and at 1080p you can see there's definitely a loss of image clarity here. If you're looking around, and this is, by the way, this is at 56 seconds in this video that you're watching now, but if you look at the information in the clapboards here, it is not as sharp. It's kind of wavy and broken up. You can see just not as much information here in the house or in the driveway. Even right here close up, it's fairly soft imagery. But I do have to say that the that the video itself is quite smooth. So it's pretty smooth video. This is at full frame rate, right? This portion, and then back to the ultra slow motion. What's interesting to note about the slow motion is that when you drop it into a timeline, at least with iMovie, it's got built-in ramping, so it starts at normal speed and then slows down and then speeds back up at the end of your clip, which is both a cool effect, but also a bit more problematic if you were recording something right at the beginning of the... Okay, so here we are looking at the 2.7K footage at the 120 frames per second, and again, it's not the super view, it's just the normal wide view, so there is a crop, but if you look at it, the detail is back in the lines. Lots of detail up here up front. Color, the colors are as accurate as they were. It was a gray day. So for my money, when you're looking at this stuff, if you're going to do slow motion, the 2.7K at 120 frames, even though it's not ultra slow, is a lot better in terms of the quality that you're getting out of this particular camera. Alright, so this footage, we're back at the 4K. Now we're doing 60 frames per second. This is with that HEVC codec. And here's full frame. This is 60 frames per second, no alteration. And then boom, we drop it down to 10% speed. And as you can see, really jerky. 25% looking a little bit better, 50% nice and smooth, and of course back up to 100%. So the interesting thing about all of this is that, for slow motion, that 2.7K at 120 is looking pretty great. The 240 is really dramatic, but gosh, I think you're getting some image resolution loss. So if you're shooting things that with detail in the background, you've got those horizontal lines or vertical lines, just anything with kind of very specific lines in it, you're going to lose that kind of very fine detail with the 1080p at the 240. And of course it gets darker, so you have to pay attention more to the light, but not a big problem when you're shooting outside. And the 4K 60, what's interesting about that is that unlike the 120 and the 240, the 60 frames per second doesn't automatically do slow motion, you just have to pick. And so you can slow that down pretty well, and it's nice and silky smooth there too, but the closer you get past 25% slow, once you're down in that area and go past that, it's starting to get, it's almost, you might as well have done slow motion for 24p. So overall, I'm impressed with the quality of the footage. Obviously this is a small frame camera. And the built-in microphone isn't that great, but as an example, so just before we end, this is me on the Hero 6 Black GoPro camera. This is the audio. This is 4K 24p. And this is me talking to you on the new Nikon D850, which we got a review coming up very soon. I hope to get that up later in the week or early next week. But so this is 4K 24p footage on a full frame DSLR with an external Rode microphone. So obviously you can see that the colors are a little more accurate, the fine details are there, and of course the audio sounds, not great in this particular room, it's a very echoey room, but just a little cleaner, a little less hollow sound. So back to the Hero 6. As you can see, you're going to want to use an external microphone, and these might not be your main camera. This is great for B-roll and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, I'm going to get working on the review. I've got to finish up the Nikon D850 review. That's going to be done hopefully sometime this week, and so we'll get that up as well. Then we're going to work on this. I'm going to learn how to fly a drone for the first time, so that should be a fun video. It should be a disaster. And I don't know, we're just going to have a lot of fun testing out the camera. The thing about cameras today is, right, it doesn't really matter what you're shooting with. Just go out and shoot, right? Because everything is pretty great. Certain cameras are going to do things better than others, and this GoPro is affordable and small and tough. Oh yeah, we're going to take it surfing, we're going to go underwater with it. So we've got a lot more to do for this particular review, but I hope you enjoyed checking out the raw footage at 4K 24p, 4K 60p, 2.7K at 120, and 1080 at 240. So we'll have more footage in the full review, and thank you so very much for watching. Have a great day. Cheers.
Yeah, the toe.